femininity.
And this comes from what we are having currently as the International Women's Day that is coming up on the 8th of March 2026. The particular theme for this particular year is give to gain. And when we thought about it as give to gain, we thought about it with reference to what we are having currently as the rise of female leaderships in this particular spaces. And you know what's interesting? That even with the rise of female leadership in these particular spaces, there is still a gap. There is still a lot of people that need to be empowered with reference to the female gender so that they can occupy spaces of influence, so that they can occupy spaces that bring change and support communities and lead with grace. However, there has been an issue of feminists being on the rise, and the issue with feminists is that they do not acknowledge the male gender. I know
Faith,
people
your
enjoying.
sound is not good. Faith, your sound is not good. Kindly try to prove on it.
Sorry about that. How about now? Can you hear me?
A bit low again. Still, at first it was better, but now I don't know what to do.
How low?
Let's proceed.
So we are clear now?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. Sorry. So I was saying that with the current rise of leaders in the female gender, there has been an issue with reference to feminists not giving credit to the male gender in their own strength and power. There has been a common saying that says that what a man can do, a woman can do better. But I hold a contrary opinion, and I always say what the man can do, just let him do it and let the woman enjoy being a woman. I mean, why do we have to compete? Why do we have to go through all the struggle of seeking to do what a man can do when God did not create us to compete? He created us to complement each other. Hence, the reason as to why we dubbed this session leading with justice, leading with clarity, and leading with purpose. We are not just coming into a space of leadership and demanding that we be heard because we are women and there's a lot of discrimination against women. Yes, it is there, and we're not going to rub it off. And as you all know right now, that the United Nations is suffering a blow, especially with the United States pulling off from most of its activities. That also includes their support for the women. The support that was allocated for the women, the children, and the genders that were less privileged has also been withdrawn. Now, that means, according to the report, that there is going to be an effect on how the women are going to be treated and the children. There's going to be a lot of trivialization moving forward. But that also does not mean that as a continent, Africa, we have to wait for external aid for them to come and step into the space to try and help us to raise women. How about we start conversations within ourselves to create structures, to create systems, to create opportunities that raise women who are balanced in terms of justice, in terms of clarity, in terms of purpose, that they lead with grace and not force. They do not come into spaces and forcing authority, but they come into spaces with the understanding that I have been entrusted this particular responsibility. For those who are believers, we know that all leadership comes from God. Therefore, by the time that you're given a leader who is a female, there is something that God wants to bring into that space that you need to learn of or you need to learn from. So, those are the conversations that we are going to be discussing tonight. And with me tonight, we have two beautiful ladies that are joining me. They are powerful women, they are leaders in the industry. We have Mutesa Betty, who is a mentor and a public servant, as we have been told before. She is joining us also as a representative from the Office of the President in the Ugandan nation. And we have Nangobi Provia, who is a mentor and manager licensed in Admira. So before we delve into the conversation, I would love to give these ladies an opportunity to introduce themselves. Powerful women we have in the house, carrying responsibilities that really are going to teach us a lot. Just before we start off with Betty, I am in a space where currently I have been able to interact with the ground in terms of work responsibilities. I think previously I was just in a space where I was off the ground. You know, the ground is where the things happen. Yeah. So by the ground, I mean where the people are, where the concerns are shared, where issues are literally resolved. And for the first time, I felt like, indeed, as a woman, you just don't come into spaces because of beauty. You need competence, you need clarity, and you need to know your role because everything in the society, most of the times, is set against the woman. They will shame you for not having a child. They will shame you for getting married late. They will shame you if you get married and your marriage is failing. They will shame you when you get a job and the job is not working and you're not telling your body because you want to get promotions. There's a lot of things that really go to the contrary. And all these discussions will be exemplified today, and we will go with solutions from this particular space. So invite everyone who has not joined yet, because Future Then is preparing you for your career ahead, setting you in spaces that you can venture as a success. So, Miss Betty Mutesa, I hope that you can hear me loud and clear. Please introduce yourself. Let us know what you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faith. Mutesa Betty Chunyai is my name. Mutesa Betty Chunyai is my name. I'm indeed a mentor and a civil servant, and I currently work with the Office of the President. I'm so delighted to be here at Future Then to talk to everyone about the topic in the house right now about femininity and strength. Indeed, you've given a preamble of what we go through as ladies, as women, the girl child, up to when you retire. When I say retire, up to when God calls you, you've gone through a lot. You keep on evolving. But we've said we should now stop the card of playing victim. We are no longer victims. We say we are here to contribute, not as men, but as women. I thank you. And I hope this will be a great discussion. We'll pick ideas and I mean, at least have 2 or 3 take homes. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that brief introduction. We are pleased to have you, Betty, and thank you for representing the Office of the President. We acknowledge you. Miss Provia, please go ahead kindly. Just do a brief introduction before we get into the session.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm hoping we're speaking mainly to Ugandans, so I'll say good evening. But if we're talking to people who are outside East Africa, maybe good morning or good afternoon. I've tried to change my location. I was trying to use my laptop, but at a certain point, I don't know why I couldn't get my audio from my laptop. I couldn't speak on my laptop. Zoom is something we used, I think, about 3 years ago. I've not used Zoom for over 3 years. So I'm not used to it. I'm used to Teams. So in case of anything, you let me know. You always alert me via the chat in case I forget to remove my microphone or something. Okay, my name is Provia, and I'm currently on the road. So I'm speaking to you on the road. I didn't know that I would actually have this discussion when I'm not in Kampala. So I'm out of Kampala, and I'm hoping that our network will not disappoint me. Like Betty said, I She said she's a civil servant. I'm also a humble civil servant, but a blessed person. And because when someone hears civil servant, they have this old school mentality of a jacket on a chair and a very unserious person. That is not the truth. That, I think, probably was what it was years ago, and that is not what it is, because it could have been very difficult for us to get to where we are, to be blessed, especially by God, to get to where we are. But it's not God alone, it's also hard work. For women, it's a lot of hard work. I know for men, it's also hard work, but today let us focus on the topic we're speaking about, which is leading with purpose, how you can pave a way to ensure you become a lead of purpose, how you can seek those opportunities whenever they come your way, and how you can successfully and skillfully use your skills and your experience, or even mentors that have been blessed to come your way to grow your path in this competitive country or industry or the world at large. So I'm glad to be here, and I hope we can be able to bless people with our experience, knowledge, and grow the young people to where they want to go to the next step. I thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I love how all of you are direct about this, that for a lady, it involves a lot of hard work, but it also carries competence. It's not just that you are coming to the game because you have the office or you have the opportunity. No, you have to come prepared. And I like that you have already set the pace for the conversation. So I would love to indulge you on a few talking points that I'll be alternating each of the speakers to contribute about. But before we even go further and discuss other things, we want to understand, when you heard that you have been invited to speak about strength in femininity, what really came to your mind? What did you consider? Also, from your years of experience, how have you exemplified strength as Beatty? How have you exemplified strength as Provia? Probably, Provia, you could go first for this one.
Do I have to use my video, or I can just speak without the video? It's okay.
It's okay, since you have already told us you're on transit.
Okay.
We understand. Thank you for your presence.
Okay. Basically, when you hear about femininity, most times for me, what I think is, what people want to hear is how women probably are not strong enough, how women have to struggle much less than men. And what Betty said was actually true. We sit at the same table, so it's we can't start off by saying, we are disadvantaged as women. We are not disadvantaged as women. And actually, we're very fortunate that we are living in a world or in a century where it doesn't matter whether a woman or a man. Fine, it's true in Genesis that God made a man first, and a woman was made out of a rib of a man. But the woman was made out of a rib of a man to be a partner, not to be below the man. That's why you get to a point where you're seeing everywhere CEOs who are female, and there's no excuse. But probably the only difficult thing about being a woman and being a leader, the feminine part about it, is a woman is born with responsibility. From when you look at a baby, when a baby is born, a baby girl is treated differently from a baby boy. Because from the moment you're born in Uganda, people will say, Anzali deka sukali, meaning you've given me blessings. I'm going to get blessings out of this daughter of mine. Because when women grow up and get to an age of marriage, they make their parents proud, they get spouses. Probably sometimes the spouses are glad to be born into these families, and they bless the families of what? Of the girl or the woman they've taken as a wife. Okay? So from when you are young, you're actually born with responsibility. We have seen families where you see a girl child taking care of siblings. The mother will have maybe boys and girls, but if there's a girl in the middle there, even if it's not the first child, they will tell the girl, make sure you take care of your sibling, not necessarily meaning that you have to clothe them and feed them and everything, but look out for them. Make sure you look out for them. So a girl child will usually be a second parent in any family. That's standard procedure. So definitely you can see from when we are born, we actually have responsibilities that we must take care of. and that we must look out for right from our families until we grow up and get educated and get into the workspace. However, for a woman, the difference is because of this femininity where you are born to take care of a family, you have to juggle a little bit more. Truth be told is a woman in a workplace is treated the same as a man, regardless of the fact that you have to go through 9 months of pregnancy, bring a child into the world if you're blessed to have that child, and then continue with your job after probably 3 months in your maternity leave, or sometimes just even less than 3 months in your maternity leave. So there are never excuses of saying, because I'm a woman, I can't do what maybe Derek is doing, what Daniel is doing. Daniel, I don't mean you who's on the call, but I'm just meaning any Daniel, any man. That cannot be used as an excuse, any man, and you say that because the C-suite jobs are not jobs for saying that you're going to have to put on what are they called, those shoes you use for climbing mountains, and then you adorn heavy clothing, you put on a helmet, you put on heavy wear, you overload yourself with a lot of stuff, and then begin to climb stairs. Then that mental work that could have been in those clothes you're wearing is what is inside your head up there. So if you just agree from the beginning that I have been given a responsibility and I must be able to execute it, being a woman goes to the background. Of course, your femininity will always be there, but you can never use it. You should actually never be using it to progress yourself. The excuses of saying, you see, because I have children, I have to first drop them at school and then I come to office, I cannot make it at 8, cannot be an excuse if the job is specifically telling you it's 8 to 5. As a woman, you have to make sure that you have the support. If you don't have the support, you're going to break down. And then you'll begin hearing those kinds of saying, I'm a female, I'm a woman, I can't juggle my home, and I can't juggle the job at the same time. I am breaking down, and you're crying in office all the time because things are too many. From the beginning, we are brought up to understand that we are girls, we must take care of our families, but then we are now in this environment of employment where we must compete using the same cards standard. So you can never bring the card of saying I'm a female and front it and think that maybe you have been denied a job because you're female. You could be denied the job maybe because you're not competent enough, you do not have the skill, or maybe you have cried, you've used that card of saying you're female, and you're female, so you don't bring anything to the table apart from saying you're female. The female thing should just remain in our heads. We can never change who we are, but we should not use it to advance maybe our failures or maybe use it to think that we can use it to advance our careers. When it comes to the workplace, be it government, the private sector, hard work is what pays. When you go downtown, you'll find women pulling luggage off those buses that bring their cargo from wherever they get it from, Nairobi, Tanzania, name it, loading it into the stores where they're actually going to where it's going to be kept safely, and then selling it. You will see women trekking everywhere. It doesn't mean that leadership means sitting in an office and doing an 8 to 5. And there are women everywhere who are actually doing longer than 8 to 5, and they're succeeding, and they're taking care of their families, and they're not crying, saying, because I'm a female, I cannot do A, B, C, D, E. We are not living in that century where women actually have to sit at home and take care of only children and feed their husbands and wait for the next day and the next day and the next day. Because God forbid if that person who's feeding you and taking care of you is not around, are you going to have to look for a second and third person to fill in that gap? If you're blessed to have an education, then you cannot sit on your behind and say, because I have an education, that is enough. That can never be enough. We are seeing women studying, getting all those degrees up to doctorates. We are seeing women who are studying and maybe getting that degree and saying, you know what, I do not want to go and fight for jobs in an office of 8 to 5. Let me go down to the business world and begin trading. And if it's working for them, that is it. Let it work for them. It will bless their families. But if the 8 to 5 is what is going to bless you, then you must put in the work. You must put in the work. The strength of a woman is not just in saying that I'm female. It's in the hard work that you put in so that you can stand out competitively with that man, with that Daniel I mentioned much earlier. so that opportunities are the same level. So that when you're going after something, you're going after something and you're being looked at as a person who actually has the competence to undertake a task. And we are seeing it working everywhere. So who knows, maybe at one point we shall have a Ugandan president who's a female. Or maybe we're not having one because the women who could actually have stood in those positions are saying, but to be a president, we must first roll in the dust. Me as a woman, I'm a female, I cannot roll in the dust. I cannot hold A, B, C, D, E. The moment we break that ceiling of saying that you cannot do A, B, C, D, E, then we understand that now we can advance over and beyond our femininity. For me, I think that is my submission on what you asked on the topic of the day for now.
I love it. Thank you very much. Especially the point that you said, maybe we're not having one because the woman who's supposed to be the president is pulling a card of I am a woman. But I like what you have said, which has also answered my second question for you, is that understanding femininity is that understand as a woman, you are raised up to take responsibility. From an early age, you have been doing it, and now it has only changed context in terms of the environment. So, the best thing that you can do for yourself is build proper support systems that can allow you to be able to fulfill your responsibilities. And if you do that well, the name feminine will be in the background because you are measured the same way a man is measured at the workplace, and there is no room for excuses. Thank you for that. Please, Betty would love to hear your submission, and then we can proceed to other things.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Provia. Indeed, I was trying to remember there is a song, Strength of a Woman. I don't know who sang it, but those of you who know, you can relate. But when we refer to strength of femininity, we are looking at a stable mind. There is a way ladies are stable. There is a way we handle crisis. There is a way we handle situations that we think are too diverse. But I don't know how to explain this. I've seen in so many situations where there is a crisis, but somehow on the team, the ladies hold it together. When the men are really down there, the ladies are holding it together. Not that they have the ability to navigate smoothly, but there is a stability about them. Why? Provia talked about the moment we are born as girls. I'm a parent, I'm a mother, I'm blessed with female and male. But the way the family operates, you'll find that if it is the girls in charge of something today, they will do it smoothly. I'm not only talking about house chores, but everything. They will do it with ease. Yet the boys, there is a way they will second guess or think that, no, this is not for me. But the girls take on whatever is there, they embrace. I don't know whether that is just the generation of now, but there is a way ladies these days we embrace whatever is thrown to us, we take it on. So in strength in femininity is about us being stable, is about nurturing others. Right now, what we are doing is we are talking to both females and males, both genders, and we are saying we are in this thing together, we can work together. It is not that because I'm a lady, I can't do this, or because you're a gent, you can't do this. No, each one of us can do something, and we can actually do it better if we support one another. I'm one of those. It is just that when my name was sent to you, either it is by design, in the design, my name is Mutesa Bet Chunyai. I'm someone's wife, and I say, and when I'm at office, I'm there to do what I'm supposed to do. But when I'm at home, I'm a mother. When I'm at my parents' home, I'm a daughter. When I'm in the community, I'm a community leader. I put on so many jackets and I find a way to navigate through. All those I multitask. Probably I talked about the issue of, yes, we have a lot on our plate, but we set systems, structures in our own way. And those systems, the support system helps us to execute our work. Indeed, at work, we have teams, you have females and males. Of course, everywhere, even if it was in Kenya or where we have challenges of dropping children, picking them, but you find a way of how you can do it as a mother and then still be at office at 7, execute, come back home. Right now, I had to pick a child, make sure that I'm at home. She has had her supper, and here I am, I'm talking to you. And it didn't need rocket science, but because I have a support system, and because I'm a lady, I I don't know whether by nature we have organizational skills. There is a way for us, we are foresighted. We normally think ahead of. I'm not, if the gents who are there, I'm not saying that you're not foresighted, but there is a way my husband normally says that, women always think about security. You're always thinking about, what if this happens? Am I safe? Are we safe? So if you look at it, and actually I confirmed, most of the times, I think you heard me say, women are about stability. We want stable minds. If you made a survey on employment in the private sector or even government, you find that a lady will get to a job, they work in that institution for over 15 years in the same employment. Maybe they can be promoted, but in terms of looking for other employment, no, when you get somewhere, because we are seeking for things that give us stability and of course growth, we don't keep on hobnobbing with everyone. No, we say, no, you see, this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to get there. And we navigate and get where we want to be. So, and we don't need to be men, no. And we don't need to play the card of, you see, because like Prophet said, that because I'm a woman, and I have 9 months. Do you know what it means to give birth? That is your responsibility that was given to you as a woman. So we can't change it. We can't, but we can deal with those that we can change. If there are roles that we can actually change, then we'll change. But those that we can't, I mean, it is just about embracing them, owning them, feeling happy about them, and moving ahead. I thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. You got me laughing at the fact that there are some people who complain about childbearing. Well, I think so far so good. It's a choice whether you want to give birth or not. That's a conversation for another day, but I'd like to interest you in a myth that has been going on for quite a while, and it also revolves around childbirth. It says that a woman can handle about 57 decibel units of pain during childbirth. That is equivalent to 20 broken bones, and that is 10 times more what a man can bear. It is not scientifically proven, it has just been out there as a way to show that women handle more pain, not to make them look superior, but I think those things are just genetically engineered by God to help us fulfill the responsibilities that we are able to fulfill as at now. Because if you have a woman working in an organization for 15 years, that's quite a great loyalty out there going. And I love your submission. Thank you very much for that. And I like what both of you are really saying. The aspect that you introduced, that being a woman with strength is actually being a woman with a stable mind. I'd love to carry that on a little bit longer. We've always had issues about emotional imbalances among women. Some of them use crazy ideas like hormonal imbalances, just the feeling like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be out there, I don't want to be engaged in this. They rely more on feelings than the stability of the mind. And I think that's also from time to time what makes the few women who do that repulsive, right? Because we have already been told if you steer your responsibilities right, have the proper support system, that aspect of being called female will be at the background because you'll be able to execute your responsibilities. So I want to talk about that aspect of emotionalism. How do we as women put aside this aspect of emotionalism and build a system where we can offer our services, where we can offer our leadership without carrying that emotional imbalance, immaturity, or even bias, because some people feel like I am in this particular leadership position, the man should bow down to me. That should not be the case. So, how do we work around building a stable mind? And I'd love to start with you, Betty, because you define strength as stability of mind. How can one build a stable mind that will help them handle the responsibilities?
Thank you, Faith. Yes, in terms of stability, first of all, you as a person, you have to be aware of yourself. You have to be in the know of what is your strength, what ticks you, what doesn't, so that when you're out there navigating with whatever is thrown onto you, you know how to handle it. You have to make sure that you leverage on your strength. Whatever you see as your strength is what you should use out there. But in terms of the hormonal and the emotional imbalances, true, at times that is said of us. Maybe I will not say that they are really typical stereotypes, but at times it's about the personalities, but also it is just that as women, we normally use our emotive, but mainly we use we empathize with others. So as we are empathizing, probably we don't set the boundaries and we exceed it. So as a way of navigating through that, it is as you're empathizing with others, please set your boundaries. As you're setting out to do whatever you want to do, create networks, collaborate, don't go on to causing fights, but pulling people to you. And when I say pulling people to you, I'm not meaning that you should be nice. Don't be nice, but what is the word they normally say? You don't be nice, but do the right thing. Say what you need to say at the right time, in the right moment. Now, there it means you have to apply the emotional intelligence. There are times when something will come up and probably in the heat of the moment you would have done something. But hey, you remember that calmness didn't kill anyone. Calmness actually made you thrive more. So I think it goes back to knowing yourself. And after you've known yourself, you do you. For me, those who know me, I'm one of those who keeps on smiling. Even when I'm annoyed, I'll smile. It is me. That is my signature me. So there are those that when they see me smile, they think, Betty's, she's a good person. Oh, but then even when I'm throwing something hard at you, I'll keep on smiling. I'm being my authentic me. I don't need to put on a gloomy face to put the point across. No, I'll still put on a smile. Even when I'm saying, you know what, get out of here, I'll still smile at you. So in such instances, be yourself, be your authentic self. And of course, as you're leading, as you're navigating through, make sure that you have people who support you, people who, in terms of having alliances, because in wherever we are, we work with the opposite sex. They are not our enemies, they're not our opponents. We are actually our own competition. So we have to bring them on board to help us achieve what we intend to achieve. Because it is not about personalities, it is about the task at hand. What is our purpose here? My season right now is to be at place 2, accomplish A, B, C, D. That is my target. What the other one brings on board in terms of personality, in terms of what, that is none of my business. So if we put, what is my purpose here? What am I supposed to achieve? And if I can clearly communicate what I want, or clearly set the boundaries, set the guardrails, say here, if you pass this, then you've exceeded. Then there, I unleash the artillery to attack. So I think that is what I can share on that. I thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. You have brought in a very beautiful aspect of self-awareness and leveraging on relationships. For those who were with us last year, Future then held a mentorship session known as the Next Step Mentorship Program. And in one of those sessions, we talked about something called VAC that was led by our own professor in here, Mr. Dr. Dan Musinguzi. And he was talking about how to introduce yourself with value, that you don't just go out there with your emotions and what you have done, how to culture that particular conversation towards value. And it's a very important thing that you know yourself and what you are carrying out there. And that will also help you in setting the boundaries. You can also inform your friends that we are having this conversation live on YouTube so that anyone who's not able to join via Zoom, they can stream the conversation or watch it later. The platform is still Future Den Hub International. So, Miss Provia, back to you. We are talking about emotionalism, how women bring it about in the workspace. What do you think about it, and how can we structure our women to have that stability from your angle?
I think generally, because we have had this history of saying that women are meant to be weak, women are meant to be taken care of, it becomes a bit difficult if you get into a workplace maybe where there's a lot of testosterone, and then you move up the ladders, or you haven't yet moved up the ladders, and you have to struggle, maybe probably because there's more men. But I'm fortunate enough that I've worked in places where it has never been an issue because I'm a woman. Okay, I know maybe some other people have had a bit of a struggle, but I think the struggle, like I said much earlier, when you have a supportive family background, when you have mentors in your workplace, it's very important for a woman when you get into a workplace, when you're much younger, to identify older people. They don't have to be, of course, usually when they are men and you're much younger and you care so much about what people say, you may get affected by the words where someone is saying, maybe you're aligning yourself so much to man X because you want favors, because A, B, C, D, E. So I think it's much easier when you align yourself and attach yourself to a female older colleague who is in a better space, a better workspace than yourself. It could be the same work environment, it could be a different work environment. Then you keep sharing so that you can be helped to grow. If you don't have a mentor in your workplace, then it becomes very difficult. You need someone who you can bounce ideas again off. Someone who you can tell, I have this assignment and I want to approach it in such and such a way. Do you think I'm on the right track? Someone who has institutional memory. So they can actually tell you, okay, this can work in this place. This is maybe what the boss wants to see, so that you keep growing and growing. If you get yourself into a workspace where you don't have any help, then you're going to struggle, most definitely. Then you're going to play the card of saying, because I'm a female, I'm not being given opportunities. Opportunities, they say, come to people who are waiting. They find you when you're already waiting, when your hand is out there ready to grab it. So attach yourself to someone who can actually be able to advance your career. And if you're a young female, attach yourself first to an older female in the workplace. An older doesn't have to be just the age, but experience, who has worked in several different places, and who is senior in position, who can guide you and help you grow. So the fears that you have, that maybe you can't do something, when you feel you're breaking down, you'll have someone to bounce these ideas off. You'll have someone who can actually comfort you without feeling that they need something extra from you. Maybe if it's a male, could put you in that really that awkward position. It's very important to have these kind of relationships. This is what helps actually emotionally balance you in a workplace. Because if you don't have these relationships in the team, with the teams you're working with, then you're going to struggle alone. And my friend, if you have a family and go back home, then your family is going to struggle. Those are going to be the people who are going to get into the house and slap the children, and then begin fighting with everybody who's coming, and then begin having a marathon of words thrown around with the maid because they didn't do maybe A, B, C, D, A the way you want it to be done. It's important that when you come to your home, you come to your home to rest and then look forward to the next day at work to go and tackle whatever else was disturbing you. So align yourself with people actually who can help you. Relationships are very, very important to balance your emotional struggles that you have in any workplace. But then also being aware of people that you work with. You see, as women, I think where we get usually our biggest problems is we become competitors with ourselves. You see, it's important to compete with yourself as an individual. And you say that if I want to see myself here in the next 5 years, I must do A, B, C, D, E. So you start that competition in your brain with your mental head inside here. And because already in the mental head, you came thinking that you're a female and maybe you won't get these opportunities. But now opportunities you're seeing are being shared amongst women, men and women. So in this head of yours, you give yourself time and say, if I do ABCD, I'm going to be able to get myself to where I want to be. So it doesn't matter whether you have a degree or whatever. Some people are blessed to actually get employment in areas where they studied. But others, you're going to just have a basic degree and you're going to be lucky to get employed where they actually ask for a basic degree. But the basic degree is not going to be what is going to take you to the next level. It's important that you continue looking around and looking at areas of professional development that actually you can align and use to make yourself better professionally. Courses, there's so many courses that are free that are online. You can actually, there's Coursera that we actually have these applications on our phones, but young people don't want to actually use them. Coursera is where you can get loads of leadership training, management training, business training, communication skills training, public speaking training for free, as long as you can justify it. Because usually these courses are paid for, but when you apply, you can actually be able to advance a course and say, you see, I'm maybe just starting out my career. I can't afford to pay for this course, but I know that if I get this course, it's going to help me advance my career in ABCD. Maybe I'll become a better public speaker, or I'll become a better communicator in my job, or maybe I'll begin to get to the opportunities that I could never get before because of this training. If you impress them with that one-page write-up, they give you a free course for maybe 3 months. You keep doing it. You're at liberty to choose the time when you can do it. You do those courses. Of course, it's difficult when you're already working sometimes to have enough money to upgrade. But you must be able to make these decisions. You must be able to save to make yourself better than the other person who has just gotten out of university. You must continue to learn. You must continue to grow your profession instead of staying stagnant in one place and you keep saying, I'm not getting these opportunities because of A, B, C, D, E. So, and also the other thing is one thing that maybe causes a lot of emotional imbalance in workplaces for women is the friends that we make. You see, when you get into a workplace, you must understand that you stay there sometimes for more than 8 hours. So your workplace may be your second home. But when you go to your workplace, you actually are there to execute an assignment on behalf of your employer. So you're actually not there to start a new family. And so the gossip that you do actually outside when you're with your friends is not the kind of talk you're going to have in the workplace where you're working. So when you get into the workplace, you identify the people that actually can support you. You have to be a little bit selfish to identify the people that you can work with who can make you better. Some of them may actually be your age mates. But when you know that maybe if I align myself with Rose is very good at when it comes to events, or maybe Rose is good at writing nice stories, or B is very good at editing, whatever it is, you always share and make sure that actually the teams that you're working with are making you better. So being aware that actually executing an assignment is never singular responsibility helps you not break down emotionally with the whole drag of saying I'm doing this all alone and really I can't manage. On top of that, I'm also maybe dating when you're right out of school. I'm also dating and I don't want to lose this person. You must strike a balance and understand what is important for you. And if you're dating someone who can never support your career, then that is the wrong person for you, because you're going to be an emotional wreck outside your workspace and also in your workspace. And it's going to affect you because you will never be able to make decisions. You will never be able to conclude your assignments because maybe you're always upset. You can't handle this person who's causing you a lot of pain, and you also can't handle your boss at work who's asking you for why you're not delivering in time. If you do not have a partner, if you're right out of school and you do not have a partner who can actually support your dreams, then that is a wrong partner. Because like I said at the very beginning, we all have the same opportunities, man or woman. So nobody should tell you because you're a woman, you should not strive for maybe that PhD if you want to end up being a professor or a lecturer or a teacher. Or they should not tell you to seek this opportunity. You cannot, you already have a degree, so that's enough. There's nothing that is enough. Even people who have several degrees continue to do self-development courses. Things are changing. I mean, whoever knew that at one point we would sit here and have discussions online on our phones? Whoever knew? 5 years ago, when we got COVID, we begin to look at different ways of actually engaging. You're going to engage with someone who's in China via your phone. You're going to engage with someone who's in Kenya via your phone. You don't have to call anymore. You can do WhatsApp. It's much cheaper. So there are many opportunities that have come with digital communication and with these digital gadgets that we have that were never there before. So if you sit down and think that these things actually are coming to stop me from doing my work well, then you're failing yourself. These digital communications, these several new things that are coming out actually are here to make us better. So it means if I have a problem, I can actually I can ask for a meeting with my mentor at work and say, can you give me 5 minutes of your time, maybe on Saturday, so that we can talk about A, B, C, D, E. And you can do a call online. You can do a WhatsApp call and have a discussion. You can even, you as the teams, help each other within the workspace you have, or even meet outside and help yourself become better so that you do not get dragged down by so many different things that can make you emotionally unstable at a workplace. But for the young people, honestly, the degree is not enough. Don't get that degree. Right now, we are in the degree. I think the graduations are still going on. Nowadays, they take more than 1 week, unlike in the past. Excuse me. So we're seeing all parents very excited, students taking beautiful pictures, holding their, what are they called? Their certificates, I think, and the transcripts, and very excited. My friend, things are different. The moment you graduate, then things become different. You have millions of people who are graduating from different universities coming to compete for the same job that actually you want. So what are the odds that they are going to actually pick you out when you're there with your bachelor's alone? How about what are the odds that this person who has a bachelor's during the time of their study also did a certificate, maybe in public speaking, or maybe also did a small course of 3 weeks in marketing. So now they approach MTN, they have a bachelor's in business administration, and they also have a certificate of 3 weeks in marketing. And maybe they did a social media or digital training, 2 weeks course, just 2 weeks online. With you who only has that bachelor's, definitely any employer will go with the one who has self-skilled themselves actually over and above the bachelor's that the parents had paid for, or maybe even if it's you paid for it yourself. So it's important for us to understand that actually you have to have that edge above others, because the world is never going to take you they're going to look at you at the same stage, but what you bring on table is actually different. So we must learn to align with the right people, get mentors that can help us, take on these professional courses, study as much as we can, get the skills. If you know someone who can help you, do that. YouTube, we tend to misuse these channels. They have a lot of educative stuff. If you just go and post in YouTube whatever you want, you'll get a lot of content. There are teachers who put content there from all over this country. There are different leaders who share stuff on anything. You can find it on YouTube. So we're actually very lucky that actually you can even school yourself without leaving your house. So how beautiful is that? You can school yourself without leaving your house. And nobody should lie you that because you went to a top university, you're going to be better than the person who has schooled themselves. No, the person who has schooled themselves already has the hassle of schooling themselves online that you don't actually have. So we need to learn to create these associations and relationships that can help us advance ourselves in the workplace, and also help us not have this drag where we are emotionally really unstable because we can't get to where we are getting to. Okay, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. That was very comprehensive. I have loved every bit of it. And I think, well, at least if not everyone, but most of us here are victims of taking photos of our graduation with the booklet, with the cake, throwing it up in the air, or the certificate. Yes. And for those who didn't have the opportunity to have someone to tell them that the degree is just not enough, there is always more, and you need to build on more. This is a very beautiful opportunity for you to learn that. And we have already been recommended a platform. Coursera is one of those, and there are many more, including YouTube, TikTok, There's also one that is African bread, which I think I love the most. So far, so good. It's called ALX, but for that one, you pay a subscription fee of $5 per month, which is fair enough. And there's a lot of content that you can do to certify yourself out there. So please be open to learning. Please be versatile, improve yourself. And I would love to engage further on the aspect of that where you talked about mentorship and support systems. I can see Professor Dan here commenting and say that Albert Einstein said that the moment you stop learning, you start dying. So yes, he's one of our most learned professors here, and we're grateful that you joined us. So at this particular juncture, just know that 1 degree is not enough. Even 7 is not enough. In our first session this year, where we were talking about excellence as an outcome, we had Dr. Dennis Mpebo. That episode is available on our YouTube platform. You can check it out. He said something that stuck with me. He said that it is okay to be overqualified, but it's never okay for you to be underqualified. So if you're out there and they're telling you that you have studied too much, please go ahead and study again. But make sure whatever you study is not just knowledge. Translate it into a service, translate it into a product, translate it into something that solves problems. That is what we call value in simple terms. Anything that is problem solving to this generation, it's going to be very pivotal. So, on the aspect of mentorship, Dr. Provia has really emphasized on the place of having proper support systems. And in this particular age and time, we are not limited. We are really not limited. I mean, the digital space is here. Newsflash, I am in Kenya right now, and we are having this beautiful conversation. The conversation is going on, and everyone is getting to get nuggets here and there. So please, you can also type on the chat box what you are learning. For those who are also live on YouTube, make sure you drop your comments there. We'll have a time to look at them and mention you, give you a special shout out, and appreciate you for joining. So, on the aspect of mentorship, we have talked about it and we have said that it is important that you don't only stick to the area where you are, and if preferable, you get a mentor who is of the same gender, it is okay. But I'd like to pull this conversation further to a global perspective. We have come from a patriarchal society in the past few generations. I mean, what happened is that when the World War took place, that's where the women started realizing we can actually work. We can go to the factories, we can make plastic, we can do something with our hands that can help us provide for our families because the men were all out there for war. And now, from that particular juncture, everything has been revolutionizing. And we're also having women running industries, being captains of industries, running businesses, and all that. So, from that particular aspect, Dr. Miss Provia, sorry, you can probably tell us what you have learned about female leadership from the global context. Are we seeing systems and structures being put in place that can help the society embrace female leadership and culture, more female leaders to rise up? You started by saying probably Uganda will have a woman president one day. Do you think the people of Uganda are ready to embrace a woman president yet? That's basically what I'm asking with too much English. Help us understand that perspective. Thank you.
I mean, we are lucky to live in a generation where women broke those ceilings. I mean, from I think after Uganda got independence in 1962, we saw women slowly by slowly joining parliament. We have had women of substance in different offices. I mean, look at Winnie Byanyima. She's an engineer, well-placed engineer, heading an international body, Oxfam. She was a member of parliament in Uganda for years, but I do not want to dwell on politics. But when I'm showing you, I'm giving you examples of women that you can see who have scaled the ladders. We have had, currently we have women who are women in leadership in Uganda. We have, if you look at our executive, we have women in top positions. The vice president is a female. The prime minister is a female. When we go to our legislature, look at the Speaker of Parliament is female. These things are not in isolation. I mean, look at positions of leadership in MDAs, in parastatals, and even in the private sector. Look at the lady currently heading MTN. She's a Kenyan lady, Mulinge, Sylvia Mulinge. Look at parastatals. We have women in positions of power. I mean, in positions where we actually would never see a woman maybe 100 years ago. And nobody's complaining that these women are actually not doing their job. The women are doing their job smartly. So like I said, we're now on the same pedestal. We're being looked at on the same level. And who knows, if we already have these women in politics, who knows, at one point maybe we shall have a female leader taking on this country. I mean, look at the US several years ago when nobody ever believed that actually someone who was not truly born of the US soil will become a president. We all had Obama. And we have this slogan that we are still using, yes, we can, because who knew that a Black man would become a president of one of the most powerful countries in this world? So until we begin to have these conversations, until we begin to actually make women believe in themselves, that actually it only takes you taking this chance, you can become it. We have had actually women contesting for positions of power for the presidency. This last presidency, we didn't have a woman, but we've had a woman who has actually tried to contest for, I think we've had 2 elections where we've had women. We have had, I forget the last woman, but we have also had Betty Kamya, who for some time has been our who has been heading the IGG office in Uganda for some years. Several years ago, she contested as president. Of course, she didn't go through. History is clear, she didn't go through. But she took a chance on herself as a woman, and she was even leading a party. She had a party that she was leading. So the sky actually is not the limit anymore. I mean, the sky is I don't know what they say nowadays. I think there's some other word that maybe should be used. We can no longer say the sky is the limit, because I mean, people have scaled those ladders and gone to places of leadership in high positions. So I think that we don't have any limit as women. But as women, I think we limit ourselves. We really backtrack ourselves as women by measuring in minors, by complaining about small things, by thinking that maybe they're being unfair to us because I'm a woman, by thinking that maybe this man is, maybe truly there are actually some problems. And if institutions actually do not look at these particular problems which are raised by women, I can't say that there on occasion there hasn't been sexual harassment, but if it has been there and it has not been raised, maybe you're not been handled, maybe you're in the wrong workplace. So why are you going to stick yourself into a place where you feel that your values as a woman are not being appreciated? Okay. So what I was saying much earlier is as long as we take these opportunities, study, develop ourselves, become aware of where we are, and then try not to limit ourselves when opportunities are there, you try and compete for them. Who knows where you're going to be next time? I'll tell you for an example that I did a bachelor's in tourism, and it has no relationship with what I'm doing right now. No relationship. But I sat down myself and had a conversation with myself years ago and said, okay, I did this bachelor's in tourism. I love to travel. The only correlation that I have with my bachelor's is that up to now, I really love to travel. I love going to parks. I love wildlife. That one remained in me from I think I loved it even before I did that bachelor's. But I pivoted elsewhere. I knew that I liked to talk. I knew that I wanted to be in a place where I actually can get a chance to talk. So when I went to master in something, I chose what I wanted to do. I said, I want to go into communication. I like to talk. I had always actually wanted to be a lawyer. For so many years, I had wanted to be a lawyer. I applied very late when law school had started. So they told me, nah, no, go and do this tourism. What is tourism? I mean, you go, you will learn from it. Okay, it gave me love for travel. But then I pivoted into communication. When I pivoted into communication, I worked in communication for several years, and I loved it because it introduces you to people. Communication is relationships, stakeholders. It opens the doors for you, and most of the relationships that I have that are professional are because of communication. But then I told myself, but I think I can actually do better. So I professionally, I teach myself loads of things. I will tell you, I taught myself how to take pictures. I know how to take pictures. I know how to operate whatever camera. Maybe now there are new cameras that don't need any operation because of AI. But I taught myself all these things. I did loads. I tried several different things. I did different courses so that I can become better. I did leadership courses because I was looking at myself now going into a different line of leadership, because at certain point you can't actually talk too much, but you can help the ones who are talking too much to become better. Okay. So I realized that I cannot. Communication is actually very good. It's a very good area of work if you actually working with people who appreciate it. But then I said, I think I really have to go back and do this law that I actually had wanted to do. And believe you me, I went back and did it and started it. I have an 8 to 5 job. I have an 8 to 5 job. I went back to law school at my ripe age that I'm not going to mention here. I did my master's in communication, which actually helped me when I pivoted to get to where I was working in government and being able to actually build brands. I'm happy to say that I've built a number of brands that I'm proud of in that communication field. I went back and did a master's in leadership and human relations because I wanted to know how to manage people. Okay. I am back in law school. Okay. I have done several diplomas. And I have friends who keep telling me, but when I tell them I'm going to school, I have to say it slowly because I know on call we're very few, so I don't want many people to know, because they will say, now what are you studying? Because I actually understand. I know where I want to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And 5 years from now, I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing right now. Okay? Because I'm planning it and I'm speaking it to myself. I'm having these conversations with myself where I know 5 years from now, I don't want to be where I am. It doesn't mean that I have to be working in the same organization. Maybe I'm going to be doing my own thing. And maybe now I'll go back and pivot myself back to my tourism. Okay? Who knows? So really, as long as you're diverse and you're flexible, you can do several different things, and you cannot fail to find time to do these several things that you actually want to do. Because believe you me, they are the ones that are going to make you different. They are the ones that are actually going to position you in a much better light than the other people that you're competing with. So when you're young and still have the time, don't waste the time. Of course, I'm not saying that die in books all the time. I mean, no. It remains the truth that all work without play makes John or Jack a dull boy. If you're young, enjoy your life, enjoy yourself as much as you can, but balance it out. When you're still young, balance it out. Learn this, get this person to help you, go do what you like. Ask yourself, where do you want to be after 5 years? Then work towards it. You already know where you want to be. So it's as if you're just filling in the gaps. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You're filling in these gaps and getting yourself to where you want to actually be 5 years from now. And 5 years are very short. Believe you me, 5 years are very short. In a blink of an eye. I mean, COVID was in 2020. It's now 5 years plus. Okay, so if you actually took yourself back to school to actually do that thing that you wanted to do, the love that you wanted to, the thing that you actually loved, but you never got a chance to do, and now you're working and can afford to pay for it yourself, why don't you go and do it? When you're still young, when you still have the strength to do it, probably, and not divide yourself between having a family and spending on them and also paying for an education that probably will be expensive. So these opportunities are there. These opportunities are there. So we just have to be ready. And when they come, they find us when we are ready to grab them and actually take them on and stop whining because I'm female and what. I have had the opportunity of working with very good men. I mean, I've never worked with a man who has sexually harassed me. So probably in my head, I don't think that I know that probably it exists because I've seen people who have spoken about it. So in any work organization, if you know that it exists, you must struggle to ensure that you actually kill it, so that it doesn't derail these young people who actually want these opportunities but are in fear. Because you see, if I go to this person, he might actually tell me something, and if I do not actually answer in the positive, then I'm going to lose this opportunity. If already this organization has that sexual harassment as something that they have actually, some of the people have been doing, and they have not tried to cure it and get rid of it, then that's the place where you don't have to be. Sometimes we're in places actually that cause us pain. So you just have to take the leap of faith and begin to look for areas that are going to actually help you settle and grow your career. And then probably become that woman president that we shall see and say, who knew? I mean, who knew? And Uganda is a good example of where we are seeing women actually in leadership. I mean, look at KCCA female, look at URSB female, look at my workplace, NERA female, look at the president's office, the state, the head of public service female. Look at where Betty is female. I mean, females are everywhere, so you can't say that God has not given us the opportunities. Even the leadership in government has given us the opportunities as women. So now actually men are now our brothers in these places of work, because men for long have had these opportunities. So I don't think that any man on this call will say they refused to give me that job because they wanted to give it to a woman. Hapana. They will refuse to give you that job because you're not ready for that job. And when you do this job, actually these selections, these job interviews, never stop doing job interviews, because actually when you go in there, you're actually training yourself for the next best thing. So those questions they ask you, the grading they give you just makes you better at the next job interview. So you just keep trying again and again. But you have to actually look out for these places where you know that your morals actually align with this workplace. You do your research. I mean, sometimes it's amazing. You actually sit on this panel of interviews and look at someone coming for an interview who has very excellent papers, but excellent papers will never get you excellent papers will actually help you pass, but they will not help you keep that job. Someone will come with excellent first class or excellent second class upper, but they have done zero research about where they actually want to work. Okay? They are blank. You ask them a question, they are blank. I mean, why would you go to an interview when you're not prepared? Nothing, they have not done any reading at all. But because they know actually parents, we're becoming the stumbling blocks for our children. Because once a parent knows that actually they're in a position of power, they will push the next person in that organization to employ their son or their daughter. So a person will come with all this, but you see, your parent may get you into that job, but they'll never keep you in that job. So if you're not a performer, however much you try, because your parent won't be in that job where they are forever. They'll finally see through you and say, this one could have had brains, but see, they're lazy. They don't put in the work. Okay, then you'll see someone complaining, saying, you see, I've not been given the opportunities, and you're coming to, the work starts from 8 to 5. You'll hear a young person complaining because it's raining. Rain can never be an excuse. We all know we all know that we're in a rainy season, we all know, but your employer will expect you to be at work from 8 to 5. So how do you actually ensure that you get to work at 8 o'clock when it is raining every morning? Actually, the rain starts before you leave your house every morning. Maybe wake up much more earlier. Maybe have conversation with this taxi person who works in your village and tell him, Mani Sebo, pick me up in the morning at this time. Add him a little something so he can come closer to where you stand, pick you up, and you get to work in time. So that you don't saunter in at 10 o'clock. Because it has been raining and you have muddy shoes, you see, and you think that actually the boss is going to be pleased and say, at least you've come to work amidst the rain. That is never an excuse. People go out and then get very high, and then the next morning they go to the workplace, reeking of alcohol. When opportunity comes, everybody knows that you're the drunkard at the workplace. So how do you think they're going to give you a leadership position or make you a senior officer when you keep coming reeking alcohol? I mean, they can't. Yet there's someone actually who's at the same rank as you are, that is diligently doing their job, that comes in time, that responds to assignments in time, that submits assignments in time. Meanwhile, you're always there with all sorts of excuses. Rain. You see, my children are sick every week. Even if your children are sick, I mean, kids get sick when they're very young. But sometimes as a woman, when your kids get sick too much, you even become guilty if you're really an honest person. Sometimes you'll feel guilty of telling your supervisor that my children are sick again today because they were sick last week. Because you're feeling it, they're going to use that against you. So you just look for ways of managing, support system, managing yourself, that support system. And that mentor at work who can help you actually understand that, those excuses cannot continue to work. Those people you see actually that waste themselves in workplaces because of alcohol, maybe because of My mother got me into this workplace. So anyway, I have the job. Never progress. They never progress. They will remain stagnant in that same job. Stagnant, same position. While there's someone that they went to school with who actually knew nobody, but was a hard worker, continues progressing, gets international jobs, you know, while you're there always on, what are those things, Snapchat, those things that people play around with, Snapchat, starting wars on Twitter and whatever other, I don't know, Twitter and TikTok, posting these things. These things have a stamp. They have a time stamp that will never go away. So as young people, digital media is here, but those things that you actually post never go away. Someone will bring a post from 5 years ago that will humiliate you and prevent you from getting to the next best position because you are reckless at some time, okay? And you're happily posting, how you're having fun, how life is, I don't know, all those words that they use and proverbs they use to actually make themselves happy. While there's someone who actually knows they want to get to this place, and they are building slowly by slowly the footprints. They are building their brand slowly by slowly, understanding that I cannot be in certain positions or put myself in a certain position because I know 5 years from now I want to be somewhere. Young people must be able, now have to learn to embrace where opportunities are. Open a LinkedIn. People are now getting jobs via LinkedIn. Someone who wants to know about you will not actually go to your Facebook. They'll go to LinkedIn to see what you're doing, to actually see if it's indeed true. Because LinkedIn is not where you take actually that kind of talk of, I was here on this Friday having a blast. Those things you do them when you're still on campus. But the moment you get out of that university, you must understand that things actually change. And if you want to get to where you want to be, then you actually have to begin building those footprints slowly by slowly, day by day, until you get to where you are, and probably the highest helm of an office in a country. I could talk forever and forever and forever. I think I should end here now.
I really appreciate what you have emphasized right there, that what I have picked from all that you have said is that the women that we are seeing globally leading in the spaces that are out there, these are women who took the initiative to carry out the responsibility of self-leadership. Funny enough, it's a rainy season. Yes, it's also a rainy season out here. I have my colleague who came to work late last week, and we're having this conversation, and the boss was there, and she was asked why did she come late. She told the boss, you already have a car. I don't have a car. So I mean, the rain did something on me, and it was very difficult for me to get here early. So the boss asked the lady, so if I give you my car and I give you the car keys, does that mean that you'll come to work early tomorrow? Which was really an out of the blue question, because indeed she wasn't late because she doesn't have a car really, but it was one of those things where you fail to organize yourself early in the morning and you just get there late because of disorganization. So self-leadership is a key factor. Knowing what to study, knowing how to develop yourself, knowing how to build yourself. All of these women are showing this particular trait. And again, it's okay to be overqualified. So don't fear pivoting, don't fear studying, don't fear developing yourself. I know there's also a concern of, oh, who will marry you? We have already been told. And the good thing is the women that are with us on the call are actually married women who have been able to keep homes. So we have been told categorically that anyone who doesn't support your career life is actually not the right person for you. And right now, we'd love to hear from Miss Betty, the office of the president. You have been there, you have worked there a while. From your own perspective, and from the experience that you have had, what are some of the strategies and structures that have already been put in place that are supporting the service and the leadership of women? We've already been told examples of women who are already in leadership positions, but what are the resources that have already been availed by the government that maybe even the people on this call are not aware about, and they can leverage on these resources so that they can be able to develop themselves and rise up? As she responds to that, we'd love to hear your questions in the chat box. Please keep them coming because right after this, we're going to delve into those questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, there are so many strategies and so many programs that have been put forward to empower the women, to see that women are also in the field, then they have a leveled playground. And indeed, we've seen this. There is nowhere in a job advert where it is excluded that they say that it's only for this particular gender. Actually, on the contrary, they normally say females are indeed encouraged to apply. And when their interviews or shortlists, people are treated as they are, as in what they bring on the table. If it is a job in this category, the qualifications are there, standard for both, whether male or female. You should have the requirements, the requisite qualifications are standard. And we've seen ladies go and compete, and they are indeed on board. We now have some of the powerful female leaders. The head of service and secretary to cabinet is a female. We have the current permanent secretary of energy is a female. We have the permanent secretary of ICT is a female. She's leading the digital transformation of this country, and so many others. But all that is that you can put all that there, but you cannot force people to go and partake. And those that have come to partake, they are partaking. We've seen people grow through the ranks. Someone joins as an officer and they've progressed up to where they can reach. And it is open. It is an open play field. But as the play field is opened, what I can say is that it is important for females and even the males that when you're called upon, please show up in a befitting way. When I say show up, it is not about putting on your coat and you appear. Please show up in terms of preparation. When you're given the role, please execute to the best of your ability. And you don't even have to execute alone. If you have challenges, please seek for help. You know, we have the mentality of that if I ask for help because I'm a female, they will think I'm weak. Please, in all this thing called leadership, in all this thing called management, you don't lead in isolation. You're leading a troop. And when you're leading a troop, you have foot soldiers, you have people in the different levels. Please ask for help. Please delegate. Please keep on learning and learn and relearn. And as you're executing, please keep on evolving. The battle of today will not be the battle of tomorrow. The battle of yesterday is not the battle of today. And I can believe that faith of last year is not faith of this year. So, but that comes up if you accept to evolve with the changing times and the tide. There are different storms. And even when the storms come, evolve by handling whatever storm, the storms that are there, but you handle them in a calm way. Also, as you're evolving, adapt. What works and what adapt. What works, please keep it up. What does not work, please trash it and look for something else. We have this tendency of, I cannot drop this because if I drop, they will think that because I'm a female. No, please. If something is not working for you, please drop it. Take what works and front it. What does not work, please leave it. Then in terms of leading, please deliver. We've talked about, yes, amassing all the qualifications. Please, you can amass and amass and amass, but if you cannot apply, that is useless. If you cannot deliver with whatever you've applied, whatever you've acquired, then for lack of a better word, it is as good as nothing. So, in whatever we do, let's adapt, let's deliver, and let's show up in the right way. Like the Bible says, many are called, but few will be chosen. And those that are chosen are the ones that have persevered, that have been resilient, that have had the moral fiber to say, you know what, this is right, this is wrong, I cannot go beyond this, these are my boundaries. If it is something to do with ethics, this is my profession, this is where I end, or I can't break this. So those that will be chosen will be the ones that show up in the right way. Indeed, we have talked about we have mentors. Those of us who are here in Uganda, the public service PS told everyone that it is actually now an offense if you're a supervisor and you're not mentoring your staff. It is incumbent on everyone in service to mentor others. Now, when we talk about mentorship, people think, people are high up there, you have to have a PhD or you should be this kind of person to mentor others. No, mentorship it is about someone who I think is more knowledgeable or has experience in that field, and I don't have, and I go to them and ask them, Faith, you've been moderating and I see you moderate well. Can you help me to see how I can navigate this? I have this session, but I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? But of course, in mentorship, there has to be a willing mentee and mentor. It is a two-way traffic. So it is not that I'll be up there and say, I'm mentoring so many people, I'm mentoring so many. Because you might be actually mentoring none. You might be sending the information, but it is not being taken in good faith or utilized. And then we have the coaching. So many a times, these days, the approach that we are having is that if someone does something wrong, I will not keep quiet and say, you know what? The service will teach them, or life will teach them. No, I put you to order there and then. Not because I'm just being difficult, but because I'm trying to mentor you, I'm trying to show you that, you know what? The way you handled this, I think that was not right. But of course, previously, the ladies that were would say, you know what? Let me leave that one. I'm not here to parent other people's children. But these days, it's like I parent at home and I also parent at office. Why? Because we've taken on that responsibility to say, yes, we are here as leaders. And what legacy are we creating? And of course, I told you about being nice. But being nice shouldn't make me break what I believe is right. Whenever I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I should know that, these are my boundaries, this is my profession, and this is how I have to navigate life. But back to the audience that we have young people here. Young people, I want to tell you and assure you that you're as good as it gets. You might be so good, but it is you who knows that you're so good. You have to show us how good you are. And remembering that you're not the only person who is there competing for these resources. Everywhere we go, when I say resources now, I'm looking at opportunities. There are few opportunities and we are very many. So it means that you have to be prepared all the time, be alert if you want to get there. Yes, indeed. Of course, Faith, you've said what happened at your workplace, and someone said, yes, if I had a car, maybe I didn't come here because of ABCD. That is the mentality that we have. We think the people who are in the different spaces up there, I think they had it easy, or they don't see or know what you who are elsewhere, whatever you're going through. But you forget that we all walked that same journey at some point. Actually, I normally tell people that, you see, we are generous. All these tricks of this one is sick, I lost, we all played them. But at some level, when you, of course, age also makes you wiser. So there are so many things that we know that someone is just, it is just a scapegoat. But of course, at times you say, okay, today it will pass, but tomorrow, you put someone to order and say, you know what, this and this and this and this doesn't apply. Now that is where people at times go back to us and say, you see, women are too emotive. You see, they use their emotions too much. But it is just that we at times we give you benefit of doubt until such a time when we say, you know what, now someone is taking me for a ride. But in terms of opportunities, the opportunities are there. But it is us to exploit them. It is us to utilize them. And this blame game of, People are here because I don't have contacts, I don't have networks. All of us have networks. All of us are godparents. We are all everywhere. Everyone has someone. You know someone of someone of someone. But if there are adverts, you're not following up, you're not applying. So how would someone know that you're actually interested in this role? They'll just call you at your home and say, Faith, there is an opportunity, come. Of course, I know in the private sector they do at times job hunt, but even those that are handed, they are those that have exhibited expertise, skill. They have shown what they can offer. So that is why they are hunted. They are job hunted. But otherwise, if not, man, it is about preparing and showing up in the right way. I think I can end there as of now.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I'm seeing that we are running short of time, but I like what you have said that you guys are generous at that. I have never thought of it that way, that you also give the same excuses. So what I'm hearing about what you're saying is that process. We also have to subject ourselves to process. Know that these positions are applied for. Know that you can use the connections that you have. Know that you can reach out to be assisted by mentors and other people in such spaces as you inspire or aspire to get to. So don't do life alone thinking that this is a journey that has never been done before. Someone has been there, done that, been there, done that, got through it, leverage on that particular experience. So as we wrap up, I can see someone asked a question in line with my last question because this whole conversation has been around women and we have pulled strings around justice, around clarity, around purpose and self-awareness. And I hope also the men in this conversation have gotten something that will help them and also their workmates and future spouses if they don't have any at the moment. But my last question was now that we have talked all about women in it, and I think for sure right now everyone should have a clear perspective, especially if you're a woman, on what your next steps from this particular space is for you to earn yourself a leadership position. My last question would be this. Now that we are collaborating and we are working with these men and we are in spaces that they are in and they are our connections, some of them are also our mentors. How can we bring them on board to support our strength and also to leverage on our strengths to strengthen their leadership or rather to complement their leadership? Maybe we can say that in a minute for both of you, Betty and Provia, and then we can look at a few more questions and wrap up kindly. Betty, please go ahead. How can we work alongside with men so that they can leverage on their strengths to complement their leadership? Or how can the men actually support women in their spaces that they're in right now?
Thank you. In terms of how can we work together, we're already working together. We are in this, it is a partnership. I bring on board something unique as a female, you also bring on board something else as a male. As simple as that. So long as we work together as partners, not opponents, because the space is there, it is wide, all of us can actually be accommodated in that space. So it is not about struggle of who gets it. It is about, I told you at the beginning that it is about a purpose. What is my purpose in this season right now? My purpose right now is to deliver this ship to point Z. And in my team, I have females and males. They have to support me. And up there, I still have males and females. So I have to align them to help me achieve that purpose. But also, in terms of, I told you about alliances or relations. As we are there, if it was in conflict, or you get collaborators, which is a collaborative effort. And for me, from where I sit at, no one has pushed us off the table. No. It is just about how we show up and knowing that we are not flowers, but we've come to those tables to add value. And the moment I tell you add value, You will be invited in spaces that have, you think, of course, at times you have this fear of like, is it me? Yes, you'll be invited in spaces that you thought were not for you. But why is that? It is just that they've seen that actually you are a very, very valuable member to the team. What do you bring on table? You're not just there to smile or basically to make numbers. No, you're not there as a token. No, you're there to contribute to that purpose.
Mm.
So bringing these people together to collaborate and achieve whatever is before you is the way to go. That is what I believe. Without
Amazing. Thank you
thinking that
very much.
that you women can do better. No, you can actually coexist with the other gender. I thank you.
I appreciate that. Sorry for the interruption. I like what you're saying that we are already working together, and what makes us work together quite well is that we are all united by a common goal. So the goal is what drives us, our actions, our partnership, our alliances, our coexistence is pegged to a goal, but also be valuable. Don't be the table. You know, people try to turn things around. When you're asked, what are you bringing on the table? You say, I am the table. We don't want you to be a table. We want you to articulate what you are bringing on the table. That simply says, bring value. I can see Pravia has responded via chat, and she says that always look out for positive traits in your team. Assign roles based on the strength of your team members, and always appreciate whenever someone goes over and beyond the normal. Females usually bring calmness and fun in the workplace. Explore how to position these females in roles that will help them bring out their strengths. We are originally homemakers, so we take the same traits to work, organizing things and analyzing things critically. This is really beautiful. I have never thought about it that way, that you actually carry your entire essence to wherever you're going to. It's not just you going as I'm coming in as the CEO. No, I am also coming in as the daughter, as the mother, as the sister, as the friend. I am bringing in the whole essence. So men should help us bring out spaces, be in spaces that help us bring out this particular authenticity. Another question here is, in situations where female staff may feel unheard or undermined by a male colleague, most especially for us who are in agribusiness, how can one intervene in a way that promotes justice while maintaining team unity? So I'll let you better respond to that in a minute, but I'm seeing Pravia has responded here that it is important to put an immediate stop to bad behavior or undermining of females by the male at the workplace. Make sure that it is clear to the males that a workplace is not only as good as the team. A workplace is only as good as the team that make it. Both men and women can play on the same team, and thus each brings something to the table. Rebuke undermining women or men, and let there be punitive action for the behavior for that behavior to prevent it from surfacing on the workplace again. Let the men know that the women make the workplace whole, and we wouldn't want to work in a place where there are nice people to work with. Oh, the point is, who wouldn't want to work in a place where there are nice people to work with and people that support their assignments? That is really beautiful. Thank you very much for that particular response. Probably I read this one more question and then we can have both of you respond. So the question is, how can you encourage a team to take risks where failure is most likely and the person is more likely to adopt the behaviors of a culture they are placed in? Aha, good question here from Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert is talking about the aspect of delivering of results. Yeah, we're talking about women being valuable and that they should bring something to the table. But how do you start these particular individuals to take roles and to take risks even when failure is imminent? And what can you do when you're trying to inculcate a certain behavior or pattern or practice or character that you need to see in the team? So, for example, like the question we had there, where women are being undermined by men, and Miss Previa talked about putting an end to that particular behavior. So now, how do we create a culture or shape up a situation where now the entire team embraces valuing women and understanding that we are meant to coexist? And at that, how do we encourage the women to take more risks that can put them out there? So kindly, in a minute, Miss Beth, you can go first, and then we'll have Miss Provia respond to the same.
Yes, hello. Yes, here how you handle this is, of course, if you want to put women out there, uh, one, you assign appropriate roles. Critical roles and see how they deliver. But as you assign them those critical roles, make sure that you support them. You put a support system. You make them lead teams on critical achievements that you need to execute as a team. Then make sure that you as the leader, you set the pace and set the example. And when there is any achievement that is made by the females or male, please acknowledge, give the kudos. Even when there is a mistake, please also bring it out immediately and give the corrective measures, because we know that it's not about making mistakes. It is through mistakes that we learn. When you fail, you learn, but it is how you handle the failure. So help the team appreciate the failure, bringing out what caused the failure and learn from that and move ahead. And then, of course, where there are those, can I say in quotes, bad-mannered people, that's crude, please put them to book, because we are in a civilized society and we are looking at each as an individual, but we are also saying you're at the same level. Because if you're officer A in this role, you all of you, I'm looking at you as officers. I'm not saying that officer female 1, female 2. No, I'm looking at the role. I'm not looking at what is behind that role. I thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. We appreciate your submission. Ms. Provia, kindly in a minute, you can tell us your perception on that. How do you encourage women to take risks that are in the workplace that could also end up in failure? And now, how do we put up the culture that appreciates women? Yes, we have disciplined them, but how do we put the right culture? Thank you.
I think Betty already handled the first part, maybe about the issue of culture. A culture in a workplace that is desired by the leadership is a culture that is intentionally built. It's built over time, okay? You don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to be an organization, even if it's a small business, a personal business owned by an individual. You don't wake up in the morning and say, from tomorrow, we are going to start doing ABC. We're going to start reporting to work and having our meetings at 7, without listening to anybody. Culture is built over time, number one. So you have to instill it in people that this is how you're going to be doing things from now onwards. Give them the support to actually change. Change management is one of the hardest thing in any organization, small or big. The moment you bring in new things of new ways of doing things, you're going to be fought. But it's important that if you want to build a culture, you identify people actually that are going to be the change makers in your organization or your business. Assign them the responsibility of actually supporting the ones below that you actually want. Because as an organization, if you intentionally want to build a culture, you are the top master, the leadership at the top, the CEO, name it the MD, must walk the talk, like Betty said. So intentionally get people there will always be people that are going to fight any change in any organization. They are there. The naysayers, the backstabbers, the one who will say it will never work. I mean, I worked at my workplace the first time when they introduced payments being made by clients in banks. There were people who are, because initially people would come into the organization, give money to the accountant to pay for a service, and then they give you a BAF form. It was a bank application form. Then they stamp it, showing that you actually have paid. So when URA decided and said, you know what, there's a lot of leakage. We can no longer accept payments like that. Let the payments be done directly in the bank, off a system where assessment is done through the URA portal. There were people who said that one will never work. No, that one, we have been doing these payments like this for years. We cannot change. Intentionally, you must be able to identify and isolate certain kinds of people so that slowly by slowly, like digging a garden when you have a big piece of land, you just don't start in the middle. You look at the land all and you stand at the side and say, for me to actually complete this land, we must be like 10 people. If it's an acre of land, we must be like 10 people. And this acre of land, 10 people digging it, we'll dig it probably for a week. But then if I have 10 people, if they're going to dig it for a week, how much are they going to be digging? How much are they going to be digging per day? So that you divide your teams, position them, and then they start from different areas until they come to the middle, and then they complete the chunk of land, the acre of land. Same way in an organization, identify the people, they propose, the ones who you know are going to move forward, what you want to move. The ones who are naysayers, you also identify them and make sure that you work with them, make them understand why you're introducing what you're introducing until they can begin to appreciate. Then you move together and then build that intentional culture. If you're saying your culture of people who actually work from 8 to 5, deliberately build it. Make sure you're on your desks by 8 and make sure that people leave at 5. Don't push people to come actually from 8 to 5 and then you want them to leave office at 10. That's a bit unfair. Maybe from time to time when they leave late, introduce small bonuses for people who are working overtime when maybe they are lower cadre staff, things that people can actually appreciate and say, I'm working longer hours, but maybe I'm getting a bonus for working longer hours. Or maybe when I work longer hours at work, I get to be fed. I leave my workplace when I've had dinner on the organization, so that there are small, there are small wins that someone actually gets from the workplace and doesn't feel like you're using me to actually grow your business. And that becomes much more difficult when it's the private sector, okay? Because someone can just wake up and go and get employment in another place, in any other place, if they feel unfairly treated, which is not very common in maybe government, because if it comes to government, someone looks at security, job security. So maybe they will actually work through it and say, let me just stay here and suffer. But now as government, we have changed. We're doing things differently. We've introduced actually purposive leadership, transformational leadership, where you're seeing actually the CEO doing what he's saying he's doing. If you all have to be branded on a particular day and you have corporate wear, intentionally wear it. You can't be the CEO on a Friday when you actually are supposed to put on corporate wear and you come to work dressed in your suit. So the staff, the driver will say, if the boss is actually not wearing his corporate wear, why are you going to force me to wear it? But if you wear it passively, the driver will also wear it. He will say, if the boss can wear his corporate wear on Friday, who am I not to wear it? If you must wear your ID or your badge every day when you come to work, you as the leader, walk the talk, wear your ID, and the rest will just begin to do it. If you must log in every day you come to work, or maybe register in a book, register, make sure that your name is actually there and seen. Don't be the leader who says, do as I do as I say, but don't do as I do. I mean, that is wrong. Building a culture is intentional, it's step by step, it takes time, because people are very comfortable doing things the way they do them. So it's really an intentional journey. Yeah? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. It actually takes the very to develop it and give it time as you also walk the talk. Thank you very much, Miss Betty and Miss Provia. It has really been an insightful conversation. I loved it from the very beginning that strength in femininity means having a stable mind. It means coming with value. It means understanding that you have been carrying responsibilities all along. It's only that the environment has changed. But make sure even as the environment changes, have the proper support systems. All this and more is in this recording, and the conversation has also been live on YouTube. You can follow up on the conversation details after we are done with this particular session. We are glad that we hosted you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments and your feedback. Please feel free to join the WhatsApp channel, which the link had been shared in the chat, where you can be able to get more details on what Future Then does and other details concerning future career talk sessions that are going to happen. So the next one is going to be on the last week of March. We look very forward to having you here. We're going to share the poster, the flyer, and the details on the WhatsApp group and all our social media platforms. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and invite your friends for more insightful conversations on how they can steward their career and their personal lives. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I have been your moderator for this session, Faith Juki. Do have a lovely night and a wonderful rest of the week. Asante.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Lala Salama.
Good night.
Asante nawe pia, uwe na usiku mwema.
Mhm.